Hello and welcome to another episode of me trying to figure out how to skateboard again. Today we're going to try to figure out how to relearn the switch heel flip in one session. But before we can do that, we should probably do a few switch tricks to warm up. Alright, so I'm definitely warmed up. I kept on trying to nollie onto the curb and then turn so I could just ride down that way. But I guess I'm not comfortable enough nollieing up curbs yet, which is, a problem for a different day. So let's get into switch heel flips now. So realistically, I think the hardest part of this trick is not going to be the foot position. I think it's going to be the flick, because my foot position has pretty much stayed the same the entire time I knew how to do it. My front foot is about 3/4 of the way up the board at a little bit of an angle with my whole foot on the board. And then my back foot is on the tip of the tail, just like an ollie too. I know that some people like to hang their toes off and then put their back foot in this pocket because that'll make it snap faster and also twist up a little bit, so then it's easier for your heel to grab. But for me, this is what gave me the most stable foot position and made it the easiest for me to do, so let's see if it still works. Right after spending the next 10 minutes just practicing the pop and the flick, because like I said earlier, I think that's going to be the hardest part, so doing that should make it easier, at least in theory. I mean, worst case scenario, we wasted 10 minutes. Oh! Oh, that actually turned out a little better than I thought. But anyway, I forgot how much confidence just sitting there practicing the pop and the flick built. Just the entire time, just every flick, I'm like, bro, I got this. When's this timer gonna be up? But now that it is, let's see if we can actually do it. But first, we need to go over the game plan because we're trying to avoid the most common problem that people have when trying to learn pretty much any heel flip variation trick. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's when you go to do the heel flip and the board just flies behind you. Now, the reason why this happens is actually the way most people bend down. So when most people bend down, they bend down with a bit of a slump back and then their knees go over their toes. But why does that matter? Well, Johnny, it's because when you bend down like this, you end up putting a lot of weight on the toe side of the board. And since every action has an equal opposite reaction, on the way back up, when you go to pop, the board flies behind you. Now, the easiest way that I found to fix this is just change the way that I bend down entirely. First, I make sure that my back is straight. Then when I bend down, I make sure to keep my feet flat on the floor, just like you would for a squat at the gym. That way the board stays flat and you can pop straight down and the board pops straight back up, keeping it under you the entire time. Now, back to the switch heel. Now, I finally get to see what happens when we try a switch heel, but the question is, how many tries do you think it's going to take? I'm feeling pretty confident, so I'm going to guess 3. Leave your answer in a comment down below. Put the helmet on real quick. I need to pop 3 or 4 lines down. I'm going to go really slow. I really don't want to slip out because then the board will be heading straight towards the camera, but let's see what happens. Foot about there. There, I need to pop at that line. Okay. So the grip tape gripped my foot a little bit more than I thought it was going to. I'm going to play with my foot position a little bit and then see what happens. Turn that a bit more. Put a little bit more of the back foot on. Okay. So the board keeps on flying out in front of me to the side, so we got 2 options. One, we can try to kick straight off to the side so the board doesn't grab our foot as much and carry it with me. Or we can put our entire foot on the tail to try to push the board back a little bit, which I think that's what I'm going to try, but this is the last try for my prediction. Ah! Ooh! I got it. So the only thing that I did differently is I actually ended up putting a bit more weight on my back foot, which I don't know if that was a fluke or not, so let's try to get a few more to kind of test out that theory. Which was definitely easier said than done, because 4 tries into it, I hit a bit of the splits, flexing my knee and triggering some gnarly PTSD/paranoia, and that made every try terrifying. But instead of being smart and going home, I kept on skating, eventually moving to the middle of the parking lot because I thought that having to do a trick in a specific spot to be able to get the other 2 angles was messing with my head a little bit. And there was some truth to that. A while after trying these, I figured out that if I turned my front foot a little bit so it would be more angled, it would be much easier to get the flick that I needed. Then really focusing on keeping my waist centered helped me get both my feet on and start landing them somewhat consistent, which made me force myself to try to get 5 over this line before I left, and it actually went pretty quick, with the last 2 being back to back. Now, if I could do it all over again, there would be 3 things that I would do differently. The first one being actually bringing some skater trainers so I could try to do them stationary before rolling. The second thing that I would do differently is just change the skate spot, because that one was on a little bit of a hill. If I got one that was more like flat ground, I think it would have been a lot easier to keep my weight centered, and I could have got it faster and more consistent. The third thing would have been to try to add in doing some heel flips with only landing on the front foot before actually trying it, because if I would have done that, I think I would have been able to figure out the flick a lot faster and get a lot more consistent. But we can't change the past, so we'll just have to try to remember these things for the future when we go to learn how to do a switch kickflip here very soon. And just like that, we are out of time. There's nothing else to talk about except that I do long format videos like this every Saturday through Tuesday and do shorts every single day. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when those things are uploaded, and I'll see you there. Sayonara.